And hey, here we go. How we all doing? It's Maynard Bear, your guest or your host. I always do that. Your host for Gears of Trust podcast. Thanks for listening. I hit a couple milestones with Buzzsprout. I'll post them to my Facebook page. A Merry Christmas go lives coming on my Facebook page. Pay attention for that. We're available on just about every mechanism possible for a podcast now. YouTube, if you want to see the actual video side of this podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the good things. iHeart, we're out there. Gears of Trust, what you're looking for on YouTube. I'm transitioning my personal account from Maynard T. Bear to Maynard T. Bear Gears of Trust, and then into 2025. That's just going to transfer once again into Gears of Trust, right? So everybody knows me. Hopefully you don't. If you don't, and this is your first time to the podcast, thank you for joining in. My name is Maynard T. Bear. I'm a heavy-duty mechanic in the oil sands of Canada. I'm a shovel mechanic. I've been 50 years in the workforce. That's half a century, folks. That's a couple of weeks at it. And I've got a friend that I met the other day. I knew indirectly before, and then we're at the corporate Christmas party in Calgary. I met him the other day, and he said, "Hey, I checked out your podcast. I'd like to be a guest on it." So that being said, if you have a topic that you want to talk about or want to be on the podcast, it's open to mechanics and tradesmen. My next episode coming up just before Christmas is actually a pipe fitter's wife I talked to, if you can believe that. And I knew this was going to be for mechanics, this podcast, but it's growing into what it grows into. Anyway, I met Dylan at the Christmas party in Calgary here this weekend past, and he's wanting to be on the podcast, and we're going to be talking about the generation gap at work, which is actually kind of fitting here because, Dylan, how old are you?
I am 26 years old.
26, 65. We do the same thing. So that being said, Dylan, I'm going to get you to introduce yourself to the listeners on Gears of Trust here, my friend.
Hey everyone, I am Dylan Walsh. I work for Maynard Mining up in the oil sands in Canada. Just like Maynard, I'm a shovel tech by trade. I've recently gotten kind of bumped down to working on the nitty gritty equipment, the dozers and the haul trucks and stuff like that. So it's
tracks and wheels, right?
yeah,
That's what
pretty
I call
much.
it. Yeah.
It's all got hydraulic oil at the end of the day though, so it's kind of the same thing. Yeah, I've been up in the sands now on and off for 6 or 7 years.
Oh, really?
I've worked in mining since ooh, uh, like since I was like 20. Been
Wow. So you're 26 years old with 6 years experience.
yeah, I started school pretty young too. I was 18 when I got out of my first year of trade school.
Oh, so what do you do? Do you do a program like we've got programs up here where the guys are in school. What's it called? I forget now. St. Crude's big on it too. Um, but it's yeah, you apprentice as you're going through high school. You get your first and second year, so type of thing.
Yeah, so like I graduated when I was 17 and then jumped right into first year trade school.
Oh, you went hard at it.
Yeah, so I jumped like right into it. And by the time all was said and done, I was a registered first year by my 19th birthday. So
You've had your ticket how long now then?
I've had my red seal now 3 years.
Oh, there you go. Well,
Yeah.
cool. So you're just into the business,
I mean,
and
I grew up around it. Like my old
yeah,
man, got me a job sweeping floors when I was like 11. And then
yeah.
I
There you
was
go.
teaching me how to do oil changes and brakes and stuff when I was 12, 13 years old, and then just hit 17 and I was in a service truck, right? As soon as I got a driver's license. So
Okay. So this is just in your blood. This shit.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's weird because I got no other mechanics in the family. It's just me. So
Do you have a lineup of family vehicles on
oh
weekends or
yeah.
what?
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. Every Dylan's everybody's friend now, eh?
You
Oh,
ever see that meme of Tony Soprano driving down the road where he's like singing "I don't want to do your dirty work"?
oh yeah, that's you, is it?
Yeah, that's me going to fix everyone's cars.
Look at Deadly, Deadly. Good. So what are we going to talk about here today? We're talking about the generation gap at work, huh?
Yes, we are.
So that's new dogs and old dogs, I guess, right? You're
Yeah,
the
that's
new
it.
dog. I'm the old dog. So fucking. So what do you think? What's the difference between the fact? Let's cut right to it. What do you think's the difference between old guys and young guys?
You know,
Are you working with any old guys like me, old dogs?
not right now. I'm not. I have like I've definitely worked with a lot of old dogs in the shops and out in the
Yeah.
field.
Did you ever get backhanded or yelled at or
Oh
sworn
yeah,
at or
oh yeah.
things thrown at
I
you?
was abused. I was abused
Yeah.
as an apprentice. There's no doubt about that.
Character building, isn't it?
Oh yeah. You know what?
So
Like I like to joke about it. The apprentices coming up nowadays wouldn't
yeah,
stand a chance. Like
yeah.
it's too many HR rules in play now. You can't get bullied.
So tell me what type of things you got to change your motivation or perspective on things by your senior technician. Was this in tournament throwing shit at you or what?
Yeah, well, when I was 15 is when like they finally gave me like a real chance in the shop to start doing stuff on my own. Some
15.
simple.
Oh, did your voice even change by then?
No, not yet. It
No,
was
no.
still
Yeah,
fucking in my throat, man.
he's not even old enough to shave your nuts. Gee.
No. But yeah, no,
Wow.
I had this old guy I worked with. He was kind of my mentor. He was at the time he was 75. He's a few years past now, but
Yeah.
his name was Lauren. He was a 3 pack a day smoker in
We
an eight
always
hour
remember
shift.
the first guy fucking name, don't we, eh?
Yeah.
Lauren,
Yeah,
3 pack a day guy. Yeah, yeah.
and
Maybe more.
he was rude, man. Like I
he was
remember one
he
day.
wasn't happy.
Oh no, he was the nicest guy, but when it came to anything on the floor, he made a point to bully me, so I didn't fuck anything up.
Really?
Yeah. There's one
Okay.
day I don't know what was going. Like I'm not too sure what happened because I wasn't like privy to what the scene when the incident happened. But some guy was setting up brakes on a fuel truck,
Yeah.
and when you set up brakes, you turn it all the way tight, you back it off a little bit.
Yep.
He wound them all the way off and then just gave them a half turn back on
Oh,
because he'd never adjusted brakes before. So he
wow.
walks
You
away,
did back
kick.
afterwards, eh? Yeah.
Well, yeah, he went to back it out of the shop and he couldn't stop. He rolled fucking smack dab into a brand new service truck.
Wow. Nice.
And so I heard the crash. I went out, and the fucking old guy blames it on me.
he put it on you.
He put
Uh,
it on me as the apprentice. Like, yeah, no, I was trying to teach him how to set up brakes, and they fucked up. Man, I spent 4 or 5 days ripping that door panel apart on that service truck to straighten it out so we could put the door back on. Man, he smacked me on the back of the head as he'd walk by. It's like that's what you get for fucking up.
just a smack. He didn't throw anything at you.
Oh, I caught a few wrenches off of him once or twice, but that was more when he was in a shit mood and I was on my way to ask him a question.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, if I walk around the corner, I got kind of used to timing it when the wrench would come flying around the corner.
so I bet you it wasn't that funny at the time, eh?
No, well, kind of, I guess. It was a little scary until I got used to it for sure. Because I was like, oh shit, like he's gonna fucking kill me. He
so how
worked
many
me
years?
like Yeah, he worked me like a fucking rented mule. That guy.
how many years did you spend with Lauren?
Fuck. I started like I said, started sweeping floors in that shop when I was 11, and then it was shit. I think I was 17 when I left there.
Wow, so you were 6 years with him, and he saw you go right through puberty and everything.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I spent more time with him than I did my own dad.
Oh, really, eh?
Yeah, oh yeah. There was a
And
lot of nights where like he wouldn't let me go home. My mom had to call him and call him and call him and let me go home.
oh, really? Well, so this must have been a mom and pop shop type of operation, eh?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
So
small town up in Port Hardy, right? Just small
yeah,
town truck shop.
that's a wild. But did you learn a lot from him?
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
Maybe not all great habits, but I definitely learned some things from them.
Probably learned some new forms of the English language too, did you not?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Deadly. So when it goes to like fucking the primary work motivators of an old dog and new dog, so what was important to him when it come to the job?
Well, his whole thing when he came to work, like we worked at a Port Hardy, but he lived in Comox, so like 3.5 hour drive away. So
Wow.
Monday to Friday he was
Living in town?
he was living in Hardy, and then he
Yeah.
would drive home Friday evening to go to his wife and kids. All he cared about was going home to his wife and kids, man. He
Oh,
didn't
really?
care. Collect a
He,
paycheck and he'd go home. That was it. He didn't care about the shop. He didn't care about the politics. He just loved what he do, or loved what he does, and then that was it. He'd go home when he was done.
so he was fixing shit because he liked fixing shit, but his
Yeah,
reason, sole purpose for being there is family.
yeah.
So what's that being said? What's your sole purpose for going to Sinker or going
For me,
oil sales?
for me it's the same thing. Like like I'm not privy to working in the sands. Like nobody up there that goes to camp actually enjoys being in camp.
No,
I'm there for a paycheck and because I like fixing the big iron, right? Like that's it for me. Like get along with the
no.
people that I'm there with while I'm there, but I'm just trying to get home after 2 weeks. It's
So do you have family that's driving you too, like as a motivator? Have wife,
I would say
kids?
so. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've got the old lady here. We've got the dogs.
yeah,
Family all around, right? So I mean I've got family up there too, but that's
yeah,
like this is home, right?
yeah,
Just
yeah.
trying to get back here.
I see a lot of on my teams across the river, across the brook there, I'll call it. Is I see a lot of guys with two kids, wife, and they're up there trying to build a better world, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
that
Yeah,
that's primary motivator. And where I was going with that, Lauren and yourself pretty much said the same idea, right? You're going out of town to get better work, better pay, to create a better world, right?
that's it, right? It's like I said, right? Especially going to camp up there, nobody really wants to be in camp up there, except for the guys that got nothing going for them at home, or the guys that have had 3 divorces and 6 sets of child support payments. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
fuck. Yeah. Yeah, that goes south a lot. You see that story play out an awful lot, right?
oh man, that's all you hear. Especially, I don't know what it's like over where you're at, but like
Oh
everybody
yeah.
I talk to that works up there for the mine is just the same story every time I talk to them.
A lot of guys get that T-shirt, eh? Right.
Yeah.
So there's, two sides to every story, right? So
Oh yeah,
uh,
100%.
women and cars require a lot of maintenance, my friend.
Yes, they do.
Does that make sense?
Yes, they
So as
do.
the old saying goes, if it's got tits or tires, you're going to pay for it one way or the other.
Yeah,
You're going to pay for somebody else to look after it, or you're going to pay with your own time to look after yourself.
that's it.
And at the end of the day, that's the way that goes. Maybe that could be an episode in itself, but when you
Honestly,
get
it
to
probably could be.
that subject, you get lots of guys want to talk about it, but I haven't found a lot of women want
Yeah,
to talk about it. Right? There's two sides to every story, right? So
yeah, that's for sure, man.
I kind of like to cover that. So like for job stability and career growth, like okay, so mindsets of Lauren mindset versus you. So you were saying Lauren didn't give a rat's ass. He just came to work because that's where the money was for that day. He didn't.
Pretty much, yeah. He didn't have any real ties to that company. He hated the owner with a fucking passion. They were
And,
constantly just like that, man. It
oh,
was,
really?
oh yeah, they hated each other.
So what? The owner was looking for free CVIPs and he wasn't going to give them up, or what?
Basically, shit like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
He would try and short him on his hours, or he'd fight him on repairs to just do it quick and put a band-aid on it to get it out the door. And Lauren's thing was, regardless of how I feel about the work, it's still my license on the line. If that truck goes out and it loses a set of duals and it kills a family in a minivan,
yeah,
like. So he
but
took pride in what he did, and the owner didn't enjoy that. Like
yeah,
he just wanted quick turnarounds, right?
yeah. Well, any owner or customer wants a quick turnaround at a low cost,
Oh, exactly. That's
right?
that's all it is.
But I'll tell you one thing: what happens in that scenario when it goes south, you as a mechanic is the first one they go after, right?
Yeah.
So I'll give a little story. I come from the auto racket, and let's call it. Then I got my heavy duty when it came to Alberta, as many East Coasters have. And I had a little auto shop back east. So we had this one customer, Sunpoke Energy. They worked on fireplace inserts and stuff like that. And Steve, um, can't remember Steve's last name now. His guys, his right hand man, took the vehicle home every night. They had this little Datsun pickup truck, a little quarter ton. It was a 4-speed, little just go around estimator truck, and they take small things to jobs and stuff. And we had it in for a motor vehicle inspection. So they have like a CVIP program in New Brunswick. It's a yearly thing. Your vehicles have to be inspected. And corrosion is a monster back east because of the salt.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, his little Nissan had seized brake cables, emergency brake cables, smart brake cables, right? And they were only available through the dealer because this is a newer vehicle, and they were like $364 back in the day. We're talking in the late '90s, okay, for those. And Steve raised fucking oh hell, look, I'm a good customer. Just put the sticker on it. Everything's going to be okay if I can just sticker it, and I'll get the cables later. So Steve, and I pulled that line that Lauren used. It's my license on the line,
yeah,
and which call it things go south. I'm the guy that gets thrown underneath the bus. So we had our little tiff. He got pissy for a day or two, but he said, "Yeah, okay, go ahead and get the cables." So we put the cables on, looking get her all rigged up, give him the sticker on the windshield. You're good for another year, my friend. Away he went. And he give it to his right hand man to take it home for, as he usually did, his estimator, right? So his estimator finishes up a day at work and goes over to his mother's place to pick up his daughter because grandma's doing daycare, right? So we
yeah,
work back in Brunswick.
yeah, yeah.
And he told his daughter, go hop in the truck and dad'll be right out. He went in the house, and what's called his daughter went out to the truck, threw her school bag in, knocked the truck out of gear, and he didn't set the park brake. The truck rolled back and killed his daughter. Like
Oh no,
5 years of fucking age.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so you're at mom's place picking up your daughter, and she gets killed. You know what
Yeah,
happens then? No what happens then? The RCMP sees the vehicle. First thing
yeah,
they do is they take it to a garage and they inspect it.
yep,
And guess what? Everything was right on the safety inspection, which was current within 60 days. It's a yearly program. Big investigation on it. Found out that dad's fault. He didn't set the park brake. And that's the first thing they looked at was park brake because it's a standard, right?
yeah, yeah.
Steve came back to me with tears in his eyes and thanked me for making him put on the cables. But just stop and think about that. If I hadn't put on the cables, the
Yeah.
liability that I would have been exposed to as a shop owner slash mechanic,
Oh yeah,
like
that would have.
I'd probably still be in jail. I
Yeah,
probably
that would have
I,
immediately come back.
I personally probably would have started dindy parties. Okay, that would have been me because I'm really pretty. I'm a small guy and I don't do good in jail. I wouldn't do good in the jail environment. I'm damn sure Diddy would be popping under the shadows on me somewhere. Fucking damn sure. But on the downside of the street, just carry that forward. You start your career, me finishing my career. Very important on that, Dylan, man, is to, it might piss some people off, but at the end of the day, when you put your name on something, you put your name on something, and there's a lot of, as time progresses, there's more and more liability on you, the technician.
Yeah, 100%. And
Yeah,
I've been through it. Like it's
yeah,
like
it's
I
no
I
fun.
got nailed a couple years ago. I used to work a Marine as well.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
And we were working on a tugboat. We were doing an in frame and had an N14 big cam Cummins in it as its main. And this boat just came from shipyard
yeah,
and sailed. It steamed like 2.5 hours to the port where we were working on it. And it was nothing that it was funny how it all worked out because so what ended up happening is while it was in shipyard, they put a new prop shaft in it. And they've got like a stuffing box that goes through the keel of the boat,
yep, yep. The
right?
packing, yep,
Yeah, so all that is on the inside is a 4-bolt flange that basically seals the keel and seawater from the inside of the boat.
yeah. It's got like a wick seal. Yep,
Yeah,
yep, wick
so
seal, yeah.
the whoever the guy was that worked on it down there didn't tighten those 4 bolts up. Came up to us, but because of course when they're steaming ahead, it's pretty well up on plane, right? It's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
it's
that's
not
right.
going to pick up
It's
any
not.
water.
It doesn't have water pressure on the outside of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it got once it got to us and we had it down for I don't know 6 hours. I was in the engine room. I had the oil pan off. I had the head off. I was polishing the
Fucking,
crank.
she's
Like
starting to go down.
well, I was polishing the crankshaft, right? So I had a piece of plywood down underneath the engine,
Yeah.
and I'm like laying on my back. We got some emery cloth and I'm doing the whole fucking dance. And all of a sudden, I feel my back get wet. I'm like,
Why?
what the fuck? And I'm like under the engine, right? There's only,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know,
You're
so
you're wedged in like a fucking sardine. Yeah,
so I
yeah.
kind of like had to crawl out. I'm like, why is there water in here? The back of the engine room is like got, a foot of water in it already. The boat's starting to lean stern down.
Yeah.
And whatever, we went through that. We pumped all the water out, found the leak, figured that out. But when we reported it to the owner of the boat, they tried to put it back on me
Oh yeah.
because you were in the engine room working on it and it sprung a leak. It wasn't leaking
Ah,
until we gave the boat to you,
yeah, 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 yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So it was a back and forth battle for about a month. They wouldn't let us work on the boat. It's sitting there with the engine ripped apart. They wouldn't let us
How'd you
work on
get
the
the
boat.
seal fixed? Did you get a diver down and tighten from underneath, or what?
No, the flange on this one was actually built
Was
inside the boat.
internally? Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
So it
Okay.
was right off the Arneson drive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we were able to just hop in there and get a wrench on it and tighten them up, right? But
Fuck yeah.
it was they were refused to do an investigation as to what happened. So it was about a month that they were coming after the shop with like lawsuits of almost sinking the boat, and it
Blah blah
turns out
blah.
when they had to do an investigation to like try and actually put a lawsuit through because
Yeah,
they can't just say it was me, right? They
yeah.
once
That's
they
right.
did an
Prove it.
invest Yeah, once they did an
Yeah.
investigation, they found out that it was the last guy to work on it in the shipyard didn't tighten up those bolts.
Nice.
So it was like, phew, like one quick wipe of the brow and it's okay, continue on. But yeah,
Yeah.
they'll try and pin anything on you if they can, right?
Yeah. That's the suck part about being a mechanic, right?
Yeah.
You learn that pretty quick. The old fucking you change my oil and now my gas mileage is dead. Like fuck.
Yeah.
Right? It's just yeah, it's pretty thankless.
Oh,
Pretty thankless.
100%.
Sure, right? That's pretty wild. So other than the shipbuilding, actually, before you even got into mechanics, it was fucking this guy called Noah there. We had to get two giraffes and two antelopes and two horses. We had to put them on this big boat. This climate change thing, like we had a fucking rainstorm, 40 days, 40 nights, man. I'm fucking
Oh,
telling you, it was bad. But anyway, that's another story for another day, right? So we're going. That's how old I am, Dylan. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm fucking old. Okay? I'm trying to tell you I'm old, buddy. Okay. So, are you working with any old dogs now?
no, no, I don't think, yeah, no, there's nobody on my crew that I'm
So
with
all
now.
pretty young guys with Mater, right? Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, we do have the one guy there. He's actually on my cross shift. He used to be on the shovels with me when I was up at Fort Hills doing the
Oh,
shovels.
yeah,
Um, he's on my cross shift now. He's, I believe, just shy of 60.
yeah,
He's weather beaten, that old man.
yeah,
Like I love him to death, like we have our problems. Like we work together 14 days in a row for months on end, you know how it
yeah.
goes, but he's
So,
uh he's he's a war torn guy, that's for sure.
so you say you had your problems. Is it communication problems, or is it way of fixing thing problems, or problem solving problems, or what type of?
Just it was mostly personality, honestly. Like there came a time after 14 days, like, you clash with anybody. You get a little tired of guys after a while. Like, don't get me wrong, I like all the guys I
Yeah,
work with, but come like day 12, like I want to tell them to go fuck themselves.
yeah. So it's to you more than him, eh? Did you
Pretty
have
much,
any
yeah.
Did you have any problems communicating or anything, or what? Like,
Not really. No, it was the thing was with the shovels, like he'd never worked on them before, right? He was a shop guy for the longest time doing component
oh, really?
rebuilds
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and not really any experience driving in the mine and stuff. And like the whole thing up there, it was a bit of a racket. Like they wouldn't give me my mine driving, and I'm sure you know how that goes at Fort Hills.
yeah,
Uh, but he had his, so he had to like chauffeur me around.
yeah. So he was
But when it,
driving Miss Lazy, we used to call
yeah,
that. Yeah, yeah,
so it's he had me or when we were working on the shovels, it's like I don't know if he was afraid of them or what, like he just didn't want to work on them. So it turned into like a major, like, oh, he's just constantly handing me tools.
Yeah. So he turned
But
in your tool bitch, eh?
yeah, pretty much.
So
But at the same time, it's like you're a fucking grown man and you're a licensed mechanic. Like, I need help, like.
yeah. So you guys were working on what, mostly PC 8000s and 5500s?
We had the two PC 8000s, 685 DMAG, and a 340 O and K.
Oh, you're working on KMC shit.
Yes, we were.
Oh yeah, for Mater.
Yeah, four Mater.
You're a
On the
Mater and you're looking after that shit. Yeah, I
yeah.
know those shovels
I
really
was
well.
gonna say, I
I
think, yeah,
worked at KMC. As soon as you said that fleet, I knew that fleet.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I
So
never got to work on the 400 though. I wanted to work on that one, but it never came up to Fort Hills while I was there.
that's what I cut my teeth on. Which call it was 400s when I was at Sea Earl Horizon.
Oh yeah,
So
okay.
that's where I learned hydraulic shovels, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I get voted off the island there after 10 years or whatever, and I wound up at KMC. That's why I know that fleet so good.
Yeah. No,
And that,
I like their shovels, man. Like a lot of guys complained about them, and like I know they were leaky old buckets of shit, but like they were good shovels, man. Like
the
they
company didn't
performed.
have any money to put into them, but yeah, they will dig. The hydraulic shovels, when they're running right, like 70 shovels, a lot stronger than 82.
Yes,
A
70
lot, a
shovel.
lot faster, right?
I
Yeah.
was I don't know if you know him, well you probably do, Darren Payne, the guy that
I know Darren really good. Yeah.
he taught me a lot about the hydraulic shovels. Like
Yeah.
genius when it comes to those things.
Yeah.
And he was telling me with 70 shovel, man, they had that thing turned right up. There was not a relief that wasn't cranked all the fucking way.
Yeah.
Like she was
Well,
wowing right up. Loved to party.
yep. That thing would bark. Yep.
Yeah.
When she got repowered over at Suncor, which called, and yeah, she barked. It worked really well. I moved a lot of dirt. And I got actually after the episode here, I'll probably send you a picture of 45 shovel got stuck.
Oh,
Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool
yeah.
picture. If I
I
had known
would
we're going,
bet you.
if I had known we're going to talk about that, I would have had the slide set aside. I could have shared a screen with you or whatever. But yeah, cool. So yeah, so from there you wound up at base mine with heavy metal. I see how it
Yeah.
is.
So now we're on the heavy metal contract. Yeah. So I do a little bit of everything there. Like I've done a little bit of shovels, I've done a little bit of truck
Yeah,
work. I primarily now I do support gear. Like once they kind
yeah,
of figured out what my knack was, they seem to send me out on that kind of stuff.
yeah, yeah.
And I get stuck in the SERP dump a lot.
I bet you, eh?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, that's great down there working on that dozer down in the
yeah.
dump.
Dump, yeah, gracious. Not a for people who not familiar with the mining world. The dump isn't like a garbage dump. It's like where they put all the rejects. It's like working on sponge toffee full of mud and slop, and it's garbage. It's horrible.
Well, and this dump specifically is like SERP. I don't know what it actually is. I haven't gone at them. I've read the JHA for working in it, but obviously, but I've never like looked up what it actually is. All I
You
know
really don't
is
want to, probably not, eh?
no, it's extremely toxic. It's
Yeah,
you got to wear a white suit and a mask and gloves. Like you got to be duct taped up to go out there as
yeah.
per Syncrude's procedures.
Procedures and policies. Yeah,
Like all the equipment out there has the CAB cab air filtration systems on them, and like
yeah,
it's nasty out in that pit. It's not so bad
yeah,
now that it's frozen, but like in the
yeah,
summertime when it's dusty is not nice.
yeah. It's not nice at all. Eh? It's not nice anywhere in summertime. It's not nice
Oh
at
yeah.
-40s. You get a couple of weeks on each end of the season where it's decent working, but other than that, you're going to be challenged by the environment.
And 9 times out of 10 we're not on
Absolutely.
shift when it's nice.
Yeah, yeah. Why does it always seem with days off those guys get the better weather? I don't know what
Oh
it is.
dude, it was we last swing there. I mean, I know you were up there too. Like a couple
Yep.
nights there, it hit -30 up on site. A couple days
Yeah.
there, sorry.
Yep.
And we came home and it's like plus like positive temperatures.
Yeah. We went to Calgary. What was it? +5 at the party, Christmas
Yeah, I
party.
think so. Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that.
Brutal. Yeah. The day before my last day of the shift, I was an undercover pylon. Right. Um, that's what. Well,
Oh, you get
we're
the big winter gear, eh?
well, no, actually, our winter gear didn't arrive, so we layered up in orange suits, like they're like Tyvek suits, except they're orange.
Oh, yeah,
Their
okay.
base, right, and with reflective stripes, and they same color as a pylon. So me and and this other guy, my partner, we're standing down on the ground watching the other guys we put a boom up on a 4100 shovel, and they're pinning the pennant ropes and having
Yeah.
problems. So you have to have ground guys to keep people out of the exclusion zone, and we were ground guards all day long, the entire 12-hour shift.
Oh,
And it was just the wind was on us. That's worse because if you're working, you move and get warm, right?
yeah.
Man, we're just down there undercover pylons. This is no fun at all. It's brutal, 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 brutal.
Fuck.
So stereotypes of a fucking old dogs and new dogs in the workplace. Do you see anything of that out there? So
Oh
when you
yeah.
say, "Oh yeah, yeah,"
Oh yeah.
that brings a smile to your face. Tell me more. Tell me
um,
more, Dylan. Tell me
a
more, buddy.
a lot of the old boys I've worked with, man, like they are opinionated sons of bitches.
No.
Holy fuck, man! Like the amount of racist, sexist, homophobic remarks I hear on a day-to-day basis out there.
So the old guy's rule of thumb is you don't tap them on the ass. Is that what you're saying, right?
Pretty
So
much, yeah. There's no
yeah.
slap ass happening.
Is that trigger them or what? Have you ever had an old guy trigger out on you or what?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What did you do to incite that? Now I'm
So
an old guy, Dylan. So I'm going to say it wasn't the old guy's fault, right? So
we're in the locker
what did
room
you
one
do, you
day.
young whippersnapper? What did you do?
We're in the locker room getting changed
Oh, great place
at
for
the
this
end
to
of
happen.
shift. It was like day 12 or something. With the
Yeah.
one PM guy that works there, he's probably the fruitiest straight guy I'll ever meet. And he was making some pretty crude comments at my direction.
Yeah.
So of course I was playing along, just whatever.
What was it,
And
foreplay or what?
oh yeah, just a little bit.
Okay.
And the old boy in there heard it, and he fucking flew off the handle, calling us fags, calling us queers, calling us
Oh.
everything under the sun. And like we just kept egging it on. It became a game after that. Like we're just gonna
Yeah.
we're
Oh,
just gonna
challenge
act real
challenge
fruity
accepted.
around him.
Oh yeah. So did he ever get over it or what? Or did he
I
ever?
don't know if I haven't really seen him much since then, actually.
That's the stuff that can put you in the corner of HR office, though, right? You know.
Oh yeah, man. But like if that was gonna send me to HR, there's a lot worse things that need to send me to HR.
there's, there's been there's been cases in the oil sands, man, with just two guys carrying on in one place, and somebody else heard it and got offended by it, and then
Oh, I've seen
those
people
two
get
guys sent
fired
home
over it.
over stupid stuff, right?
Yeah. Oh, I've seen guys get walked to the gate over stuff like that. There's
Yeah,
especially with the amount of like female operators and stuff there are up there now.
yeah.
You really got to watch what you say because some of
You're
them take the jokes, right? Like it's
yeah,
whatever,
but you
but
have to know your audience. You don't know who's going to slam you into the corner office.
that's the thing with the old boys is like
They don't
it's
give a fuck, right?
exactly,
Yeah, you're gonna take me
exactly.
to the office. Take me to the office. I go fucking somewhere else.
It's
Yeah.
like I've been chewed out before. It's not the end of the
yeah,
world,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. The little crusty boys kind of like
Yeah,
that, eh?
yeah.
So these guys are just playing with him for entertainment purposes, eh?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's fucking. You go crazy if you're not laughing up there, right? Like.
Yeah.
So
So
we definitely get after him pretty good.
have you ever worked with a South African?
Yes, actually, I've got my partner right now is he's originally from I think he's originally from Zimbabwe, but he's from that area of the world,
Yeah,
and he spent quite a few years living in South Africa too. I think it's half his family's from South Africa.
yeah,
He's a good dude to work with, man.
yeah,
He's a fucking hoot.
yeah.
He might be
Yeah.
gayer than the rest of us, to be honest with you.
He's he's go, he's he's exploring his feminine side. Is that what you're trying to
I
say, or
think
what?
so. Yeah, I think so. Good dude though. Good dude.
Yeah. Usually, over the years, I've worked with some gay guys, and I'll tell you, usually their mindset's the better of the two, right?
Oh,
And
100%.
they don't tend to get hung up on negativity, which
No,
is
not at all.
right. You get some of those old crusty guys that are culturally fucking solidified. I guess is a good way to say it.
Yeah.
So they don't tolerate any other culture, any other color, any other concept or stuff, right? That's kind of
Yeah.
like what I want to cover on our conversation today, Dylan, is that Not what your personal life experience has been with, if you have found a lot of people that are really fucking set in their ways or otherwise. I'm a one of, right. Like I'm fucking 65 years of age. But no plans of stopping right now. And then just for the folks out there in listening land, I've written one book that's going to be published here right into the new year. We're on the author website and getting that functional right now. And we're doing a launch, marketing launch. It'll be launched primarily in the United States, but I will be talking to friends on Facebook here about it. I've got a supplement backup book to that. Plus, I'm writing 8 other minor books that work off a course that I'm building from the initial book. So, on top of that, I'm doing a podcast. I use 7 different AI software programs to put together my writing, my podcasting. I do my own editing and stuff. Uh, and then I talk to young fellows all the time, and I work with the young fellows with major mining, and I don't think I've ever had this much fun since the Navy, uh, because I thrive off the young mindset. So I'm very fortunate. That being said, what's going to do a shameless plug, I guess. Right now we're halfway through the session. Follow me on YouTube. You can see these right as they happen. Follow me on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I'm out there. Please and thank you. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on True Social. You can find me on X. You can find me on Instagram, LinkedIn. There we go. I think that's it. I covered them all. January 2025, Onward Buttercups is going to be real. It's going to be live. It's going to be a really good book. If you like to learn about building teams, okay, building teams, that is the book you're going to want in 2025. Hopefully by June of 2025, I'm going to have an app out there for young guys just like Dylan that's going to give you the 16 different types of personalities you're going to encounter in the workforce. And with this app, I'm trying to get the functionality side of it going here now. You should be able to enter in the characteristics of your coworker, and the app's going to come back and tell you what type of guy you're dealing with, right? The other way to do that is to fucking say the wrong thing at the wrong time, wind up in HR and find out how to fucking deal with the guy that way, right? I think it's a lot better to grab a $20 app and fucking see what type of dick you're dealing with before you get yourself in shit. Does that make sense? So that's it for shameless plugs. Dylan, let's go back to the podcast here, buddy. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and follow, please. That does mean a lot for my stat, and I'll be pushing this hard with some marketing coming into 2025. So, okay, values of each generation. So my values, your values. Let's talk about values and generations. Dylan, what do you think, buddy?
Uh, well, in what regard? Like,
What's important to you in relation to what's important to somebody my age? What are your values about? So, like we're talking about these old crusty guys saying, "Well, I don't like you homosexual guys. You leave your Vaseline vixens under the dressing room." Blah 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 blah. So his values of moral values are going to be different than your moral values. You see what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah.
Have
Um,
you have you encountered that? What about our buddy Lauren? Was his his values? I brought a smile on your face. His values the same as yours, or what?
you know, being being brought up around like old school trucking, old school oil field, like that old school fisheries,
Yeah,
that's my family in a nutshell. My whole family's from the East Coast, right?
yeah.
Um,
Whereabouts
so
East Coast?
Newfoundland.
Oh, Newfie. So, well, I've never seen Newfie in Alberta yet, but that's amazing. So you
No,
must be,
it's not Little St. John's or anything, it's
yeah, Fort
um
Mac, second largest city in Newfoundland, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, for me, like growing up with the old school mentality, like obviously like a lot of my family is very religious. I never really fell into that myself, but
yeah,
you know, the half the family is Protestant Christian, the other half is Catholic, right? So very weird mix, but regardless, it's I was raised with the hard work ethic, like, you don't stop till the job's done. Obviously family is the most important thing at the end of the day. Uh
yeah,
be kind to everybody. Like I can be an asshole. I'll be the first one to admit that.
yeah,
But at the same time, I couldn't care any less if, like what color your skin is, or what you believe in, or what your sexual preferences are. Like I don't care about that. If you're a good person,
Yeah.
I'm gonna treat you with respect.
Well, do you find older guys do care about that stuff or what?
A lot of the ones I've worked with do. Yeah, honestly, a lot of them are pretty set in their ways of like, if you aren't exactly this way, then I don't like you, I don't respect you. Like I worked with a lot of guys like that.
Yeah.
Especially back when I was, an apprentice. Like I was surrounded by that. There's a lot of negativity in the
Yeah.
workplace. Nobody was ever happy. Everyone just was cruising by till 4 o'clock beers, right? Like it
Yeah.
was that. Whereas for me, it was like, I actually enjoyed being at work. I enjoy fixing the equipment. I enjoy talking to people and learning things and learning about people. Like that's why, like I gotta say, like working remote like we do, I absolutely love it because you see people from all walks of life, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I
Yeah,
know
you do.
guys, I know a lot of guys that would go up there and they're fucking blinders on. They're going to work. They're miserable
Yeah.
at work. They go back to camp. They're miserable at camp for 14 days, right?
Well, being, this is going to sound a little funny, Dylan. I'll give you some old guy advice here, pal, but being miserable is a choice. I hate to tell you that. Being miserable is a choice, and accepting others, that's a choice as well too. So either I accept others or I don't accept others.
Yeah,
Um, there's some things that I scratch my head at. I can't say there's not, but the best way I've found to deal with it internally is to pretend I'm watching a reality show like Highway to Hell,
yeah,
right? Like if you watch our daily lives as mining mechanics and some of the stupid shit that goes on,
oh
it would
fuck,
make it would make yeah, we make oil, not sense. Sometimes don't even make oil, right?
yeah. There's days.
Yeah, there's days.
There's fucking days.
So you're gonna get yourself emotionally attached to that and really twist yourself out of shape, or you can sit back and be very entertained by
Yep.
watching it as a reality show. Put Take yourself out of the situation, put yourself in and look at it in a third person perspective, like you're watching a show. And I'm gonna tell you, it's done a lot. If anything, the oil sands has taught me, it was patience and how to detach myself from a situation. And
Yeah.
the older I get, the better I get at it. And a lot of times when I see a lot of confrontation and stuff in the workplace, I'm fucking giggling. Like I couldn't be a writer for a show and get good material like some of the shit you see, like guys losing in the dressing room. This guy's okay. I can only envision being there, right? Fucking like,
Fuck. You imagine if they managed to get like somehow Discovery managed to get a TV crew up on the oil sand sites?
oh man, that'd be crazy. I
I'd
seen
watch the fuck out of that.
I seen one guy was a roid monkey, and we had a gay guy, uh, what's it called in the locker room. And man, when I was supervising, and he was at my desk every second day complaining about this guy, right? Complaining. And he wasn't an old guy either. He's a young guy, and he's a roid monkey. Like he was, you see them around the camp, the guys who don't fit through the doorways.
Yeah,
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 probably
yeah.
not all natural. Just saying.
No, no, no.
And he had the roid rage going on, but he had a hate on for this one guy, right? And ironically, the guy came to us from SMS. He was a decent technician, and once again, uh, he's a very good communicator, right? Very, he almost communicated like a woman. He was that good of a communicator. Women communicate so much better than guys. I'll tell you right now. Like over 65 years of my life here, women are better communicators, hands down. Uh,
100%.
yeah, and then but he was a great guy, good technician, solid technician, good package all the way around. He just had different choices. That's all. But
Yeah,
Buddy fucking could not get over it. And he would ruin his seven. We only did sevens there, like 7 on, 7 off. He would ruin his 7 days just thinking and focusing on that. Just
yeah.
unbelievable, right? And then we fucking moving off of that subject, technology. What are you seeing with technology? Have you got guys that you've worked with there that can't adapt to new technology, or what do you see? Let's back this up again. What do you see for technology in the workplace now? So when you go to Diag something, what do you see technology wise? You're doing John Deere stuff, I imagine, eh?
Yeah,
870s.
there's a lot
Yeah,
of deer. Yeah.
yeah,
A
yeah.
lot
It's
playing a lot on ET, of course.
yeah. So
Um,
ET is what? Let's explain this for our listeners. What's ET?
so ET is Cat Electronic Technician, so it's their plug in diagnostic software to, check parameters, codes, run tests, stuff like that. Just basic
Yeah.
diagnostic software for cat. Um, I haven't seen it too much recently because
Yeah.
like the crew I work with is like with this. It's nice the crew I work with is relatively young because especially with this new stuff like the next gen cat equipment, especially that's coming out
Yeah. Yeah. The
with
tier 4 after
yeah,
Philip Martin. Yeah. Yeah.
that
Oh,
stuff. And then even like I don't know if you've seen like the new 793s are coming out with their next gen 793s. They're not a 793F or anything like that. Um they So what they're
what's
doing now is they're putting 797 cabs, next gen 797 cabs on 793. So
okay?
they're I don't know if you know what the ABC trucks are from like back in the
Yeah. Yeah. The
90s where
earlier models. Yep. Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
so
Yep.
basically the new next gen trucks that are coming out, they're making ABC models again, essentially. So, like, say you want to look up a window for one of these 793s, but the serial break will bring you a 793 window and you need a 797 window. So, you got to go through SIS, and SIS is
Ah,
an absolute fucking
a
nightmare.
pain in the ass. Yeah.
So, like, you spend fucking 3 hours trying to troubleshoot, or not troubleshoot, but try to
Find a
find, like,
part.
say, find a part, right?
Yeah.
And I know a lot of older guys, not that they're not privy to the way it works, they just either don't have the patience or they just don't care to learn the new
How
ways that
how to use the technology to find parts.
yeah, so they kind of I've run into it a lot with misdiagnosis and wrong parts ordered and things like that because the guys just either don't understand or don't want to learn.
Yeah, I've seen that with well, a guy. He's younger than me, but he's an older technician. Kind of like he locked down in one era of technology and he didn't move past that. And
Ah, yeah,
so he was a contractor at site, wanted a job with us. I set up the interview for him, and then he couldn't understand how to make Microsoft Teams function on his PC,
right, right,
right? And he actually had to get his son to help him to set up the Teams for the interview. Does that make sense?
yeah,
Which is kind of funny. And we're last rotation. I was sitting there and talking with some guys and asked them what they thought of AI. And I'm going to tell you right now, you want to get on the AI bandwagon because what you know now is going to be as outdated as the 8 track and the cassette tape.
yeah, 100%.
That, the technology we are using right now is going to be outdated very, very quick, especially using AI. We had some problems linking up. We didn't have enough data download on Dylan's PC, and I had thrown him a link to an AI software that after I've done this recording, I do my own editing, but I use AI to do that editing. So I'll take this video, download it, import it into my AI software, edit it. I'll clean up my eyeball movement and all kinds of weird stuff. I can change my voice or change words I say with editing using AI. Um, if you're not on the AI bandwagon, or if you're not starting to learn about that now, Dylan, within 10 years, you're going to be that old guy.
Oh yeah, 100%. And like,
You're,
I don't know if you guys I don't because I don't think the cable shovels have like the operator monitor systems in it, do they? Like the seat shaker and like
that all goes from site to site.
oh, does
Um,
it?
what's
Okay.
called so with the eye monitoring system when that first came to the sands, uh, December the 5th, 2014. Uh, yeah, December 5th, 2014. A friend of mine, Darcy Draper, was killed at site at Horizon, and he was run over
Okay.
by 797. And there's a whole preamble to that as to things that happened and occurred that day. It's a fucking horrible day. It sucked. At the end of the day, what Horizon moved to was the eye contact system with the seat shaker. And then operations dispatch would see if your eyes were off the road any specific point in time. Um, and then they would contact the operator, say, "Hey, what's going on there? We had an eye event." And if, well, I was looking at a seagull flying by, and I threw a rock at him. Okay, well, stop throwing rocks at seagulls and keep driving, right?
Yeah.
And then what's called is if they get a second event, they dispatch a contact again on radio and say, what happened? Well, I was looking at my feet. I dropped my pop and like didn't want to spill it on the pedals. Okay, we'll stop, dropping your pop. Right. And the third bit, they pull you off the truck and put you inside for the rest of the shift. Right.
Yeah.
Be it sweep the floors, clean up the locker room, but you weren't going to be driving anymore that 12-hour
Yeah.
rotation.
Well, I was
Moving.
talking to one of the new guys though about that software. One of the guys that deal with like the Wankos and
Yeah.
all that jam. They deal with those cameras. I guess there's
Yeah.
a new generation camera in development now that's using AI software. Essentially, like because it was a bit very like the system as it is now is a very basic version of it.
Yeah.
But they're actually I don't know obviously the whole process and how this camera is going to work. He didn't explain it in too much detail,
Yeah.
but they're actually funny enough, they're trying to figure out a way to make it work with the autonomous haulage systems
Yeah.
to essentially work the truck off AI. So the camera's still going to be in the truck, and it's pretty much it's going to have its 360 view of the truck. Like there's
Yeah.
sensors and cameras everywhere,
Yeah.
and it's going to almost create a
The,
figure in the driver's seat. Yeah, like the way he was
create a
explaining it.
virtual avatar in the driver's seat. You mean?
Yeah,
So the information coming into the truck is going to be similar to that a person would perceive.
yeah,
That's what you're saying, right? And then that would
yeah.
go into the go. So we have collision avoidance systems on shovels. We have AHS at base mine. We have your eye contact systems. So if you took all that input, take all those inputs and put them into one software, the AI software would have as many inputs as a human being sitting in that seat. I think that's what he's trying to tell you. Is that not
Yeah,
correct? Right?
I something
So
like that. Yeah,
yeah, and that would allow an autonomous haulage piece of equipment to make better and quicker decisions too.
yeah.
Right? Does that make
Which
sense? They haven't figured. Yeah,
they need it because we're still so far behind on it. Really, like I don't think it's the most reliable thing in the world at a lot of sites yet. That's why
we've
they
got it
got rid of.
across the brook there. They've got it in high grade and have a mine that operates. The North Mine runs directly on
Yeah.
autonomous. Right? There is a great deal of consistency with it, and there's not a quick response rate. Now, autonomous systems can't formulate, problem solve, and make decisions as fast as the human mind can. That's
Yeah.
a pretty formidable feat. But I'm telling you, with AI, within 10, 15, maybe 20 years, they'll get there.
Oh yeah,
Where
100%.
where
Yeah.
where a vehicle can actually that's funny. I was reading, and when you become an author, people, if you want to learn to be an author, read. It's stupid how much reading I do now. I was saying that at the party the other night. Who was I saying that to? I was saying that to somebody's wife. Is that if you read, you learn about writing. So I was reading the other day that the designers of Chat GPT version 3 upgraded the software to Chat GP 4.0, and that's GPT 4.0. That's what I use for my writing and stuff now. I went through 1, 2, 3, and 4. I've been with Chat right from the get-go. So they attempted to delete Chat GPT 3. And guess what it did? It tried to hide itself on a cloud. And the designers caught it. So it was telling the designers that it was deleting itself, and somehow the designer was sharp enough, that team of designers was sharp enough to determine it was hiding itself on a cloud.
Wow.
So they stopped it, and they got Chat GPT 4 to delete 3.
So it's
This
like
is how fucking clever this shit's getting, buddy.
an AI manhunt kind of thing, eh? Like
Yeah.
that's
And
fucking
just
crazy.
so prior to our recording of this session today, I was on a Zoom meeting with HeyGen. HeyGen is another AI software that I use that I clone myself, and I run text to script using Google Chat to create. I use Designer for writing books. I use HeyGen to take me, create avatars, type my script into my HeyGen, and then I have me as an avatar dictating what I've written. So you can watch virtual presentation that I am doing, which in fact is not me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's where technology is going. That's where you need to put your mind to coming up in your career, right?
Oh,
Uh,
100%.
my career's coming to a close here now. I'm 65. I don't know how many more years I'm going to do this. The guys head office for hope for another 7, maybe 10. But I'm having a lot of fun, and the crews I'm working with are having a lot of fun, so I'm very blessed that way there. But yeah, man, technology, it's it's very easy to see who embraces it and who doesn't. That discussion we're having around the table before shift the other day, like I was saying, hey guys, who's using AI here? I thought it to be a general conversation. I thought everybody was using AI. I got a lot of fucking rebuttal about the fucking ills of AI, and I'm not doing AI, and blah 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 blah. So out of 5 guys, 4 of them turned on me and said, "No, we don't do the AI thing."
Yeah. Well,
Oh
because
wow,
it's, everyone looks at it like it's this new thing that's not going to last, but in reality, that's the future of
wow,
everything we do.
wow, amazing. Fucking, I just get a call from somebody here. I got to text him. That's Greg looking for me. Let me just text him right quick. So what's called is so conflict resolution. I got to touch that conflict resolution with you, buddy. Do you see any differences in the way you handle conflict as opposed to somebody like Lauren handles conflict?
Uh, oh yeah, there's a few differences. For one, I'm not throwing tools at people as much as I may want to sometimes.
Yeah,
Try to avoid screaming matches, which tend to happen. A lot of the older guys do like to just start fucking fighting because they're always right, you're always wrong. Um, Honestly, for me, like if there's a conflict that comes up and it can't be resolved right then and there, like I'm just gonna walk away. Gonna save face, come back when we cool down. I'll apologize and shake your hand if I was being a fucking prick, or I expect the same, vice versa.
yeah,
Like it's, I just don't see the point in. I understand like healthy conflict in a way that, like, if it's an argument about something that
so
can be
what do you class as healthy conflict? Like
so for
where's the
example,
line on
say
healthy conflict?
say we were on a shovel doing a job together, and I want to do something one way, you want to do something another way, and we had, like I was pretty set in my way, you were set in your way, and we had an argument about it back and forth where it got a little heated, but in the end we could resolve it between the two of us, as in, okay, like let's discuss these ideas together to see, why I
Yeah,
think I'm right, why you think you're right, and we can come up with a plan together.
yeah,
Right. Where I've been in this instance with a lot of people that are so blunt that they just don't agree with anything
don't
anyone
care.
else says.
Yeah,
And it gets heated, and that's the times that, like, I've had.
yeah. You have to step out of it, right?
Yeah.
So for those people that get jaded and hooked and anchored right in those positions, um, I'm going to give you a little tip about people. I figure with 6 decades in the game, I can do this. People listen to respond.
Right.
Okay, remember that. So when we converse, people listen to respond. As I talk to you, you're listening to what I say, and you're saying, "What am I going to come up with an answer?" Seldom ever do people listen to understand.
Yeah.
Two different types of listening, both very critical in any conversation or dialogue. When you listen to understand, don't answer quickly. Listen with what the person said, understand what the person said, and then respond to that with the knowledge of that understanding, right?
Yeah.
So many people, they go to that final step of listening to respond, and they're responding before the guy's even finishing his sentence. Have you ever seen that before?
Yeah.
Right? So when you get into those conflicts and you're starting butting heads, and you're going to try to tell the guy, hey, if we put a come along here and we pull it this way, and we put a come along there and pull it that way, and then up, and then you shove and I screw, he's telling you before you get the second come along brought into the picture, he's telling you the way it's going to go. Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that guy's listening to respond, right? And what's called best way to avoid when it turns like that, to stop that confrontation, is stop the guy and say, okay, listen, I understand what you're saying, but I need you to listen to me so you understand what I'm trying to say. And it's very important that people understand that what I say might not be what you hear,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
And a really good illustration of that is a text message. If I send you a text message, you read that, you interpret that, and you put your own spin on that. It's kind of like a love letter. Back in the days, we used to write letters to our girls. We didn't have Tinder, Grinder, and all that good stuff, right? See how I was inclusive? Tinder, Grinder, get it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So we actually used to handwrite letters, and a handwritten letter is very subject to interpretation. When I talk to you, I use different nuances or stuff to communicate, to express how I'm thinking and feeling. Written word is always interpretive, right? Does that make sense? You have to interpret it, try to understand what the person is saying, and then reply to that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Watch for those guys. When you're into those conflict situations, sit back and listen and say, is that guy really listening to understand, or are you listening to respond? And sometimes you just have to stop long enough, catch your breath, leave a guy verbally puke, just verbally puke. And once he's done regurgitating verbally, you say, okay, are you done now? Do you feel better about that? Now, will you listen to me so I can try to explain to you? Right? And then go from there, right? And sometimes you'll win, sometimes you won't, but
Yeah.
those team members the way they are, my friend. So I guess sending on that note, that's pretty cool. Well, I think we did a good job of covering this subject today. Dylan,
Yeah,
how
I
you
think
doing, buddy?
so.
Cool. So what we're going to do now, folks, we're going to shut her down. We're at the 1 hour mark. I try to keep that 1 hour so it's not too boring out in the field. These guys on night shifts, I hope you're enjoying the podcast. Dylan, I really enjoyed talking to you today, and I'm looking forward to having you back on again.
Likewise, man. Whenever you want me
Yeah.
back, just let me know.
Yep. And Dylan, I want to talk to your wife, Jamie, or your love, Jamie. Jamie,
Oh,
she has Facebook. Dylan's denying technology. He doesn't have Facebook. So Jamie and I have been communicating back and forth, but on Jamie's Facebook, she's a female woodland firefighter. I want to talk to her about her
and an
career
apprentice welder.
and an apprentice welder. So maybe that's where all forest fires starting. I don't know. I have to talk to her. Dylan, I need you to talk to Jamie. I want to talk to her. I have questions.
I'll get her on. I'll get her on.
The listening audience of Gears of Trust has questions. You have yourself a Merry Christmas. Dylan,
You as
stay
well.
on after I stop the recording here, buddy, because I have to download everything so I can import it to AI. Please and thank you. Thanks again for listening to Gears of Trust. I'm your host, Maynard DeVere. Looking forward to seeing you on the next episode. And thanks for following me once again. Like, follow, and subscribe. Please, those things really do help the little guy trying to get the podcast launched. Thanks so much. Bye-bye. And we're